Hey everyone, Aaron Richardson here with UTV Driver. Standing behind me is my 2006 Toyota Sequoia Limited. This is my daily driver, my camping rig, my tow rig, my motorcycle hauler, and my general purpose everyday vehicle. I bought it about a year ago, and I thought long and hard about why I was going to buy a Toyota Sequoia before I did, and I thought I would share that with you now, plus give you a 1-year update on its towing ability and the modifications I've made to make it a better tow rig. Now, the first mod this truck needed to really make it a good towing rig was a rear suspension upgrade. From the factory, this thing's a mall crawler. It's got soft coil springs at the back, and that's great for comfort, it's great for traveling around a city, but it's not really good if you're really putting the rig to work. So I had to fix that. And the way I did it was I bought a set of Firestone airbags that go in the rear coils. Now, they're a really low impact mod. You just pop the rear coil springs out, fit the airbags in the middle of the coil spring, run an air hose to the back, and then put everything back together. When you want to tow, you just use this nipple down here to inflate one of the airbags, and there's the same nipple on the other side, and it raises the rear of the truck, and that makes everything a little bit more stable while you're towing. Before I put the airbags in it, the back of the truck would wallow under weight no matter what I did to adjust the tongue weight, and that made everything kind of uneasy on the highway. It would shimmy and shift, and it would also make it a lot harder for the engine and the transmission to keep up with the load you were pulling, even if it was a light load. It always felt like the truck was sort of fighting against itself. So with 2 hours and about $130 invested in these airbags, I'm able to completely negate all of those negative aspects. It doesn't wallow anymore. The engine and the transmission work in harmony with the chassis a little bit better, and everything is just that much more comfortable towing, and it's made it something that I would recommend for you. Even if you have a truck that's reasonably capable out of the box, these airbags can't really hurt, and the best thing is they're cheap, they're reversible, and they're easy to install. So if you end up not liking them, you can pull them out, and somebody will probably buy them from you. So that was our first mod we made, and probably the one that, of all the others, I couldn't live without. Everything else I've done to this truck I could take away and probably be okay. These guys though, they're staying, they're permanent, and the next time I buy a tow rig, they're going in that too. I got it, and even though it was low miles, the stock tires, or the tires it came with I should say, had not been changed in a long while. They had been good tires when they were new, but they were old and dry rotted, and even though they had pretty good tread on them, they just weren't safe for highway use. So we called our friends at BF Goodrich, and they sent me this set of trail terrain TAs, which are a little bit more aggressive than just your standard sort of all seasons, but less aggressive than the famed BF Goodrich KO2. What you get out of these that you don't get with the all-terrains is reduced road noise, a little bit better fuel economy, and better wear characteristics. They're not as soft, so they're a little bit longer lived. Why these are better than just traditional all seasons is, as you can see from the sidewall, and I'll show you the tread here, they're just that bit more aggressive than your traditional all season, and actually they kind of have a tread pattern that's a little bit reminiscent of the KO2, just maybe not as deep. And they, even though they're far from aggressive, they've been really nice when we've done some light off-roading or on soft surfaces. And the other thing is they are 3-peak mountain snowflake rated, which means they're good in cold temperatures and in nasty weather, which here in Virginia we get a lot. So these next to the air suspension have been a fantastic mod. I recommend these tires to anyone who's looking. Alright guys, now excuse the mess in here, but as I said, it's a daily driver, so it's a little dirty. Now, I just wanted to talk real quick about this modification that I made pretty early on in owning the truck. It's not one that I would necessarily recommend to everyone, but this pedal commander basically talks to the drive-by-wire throttle and makes it respond a little bit more quickly than it does normally. The factory tune is pretty sluggish, kind of feels like you're stepping in a bowl of pudding, and with the pedal commander, things respond a little bit snappier. Around town, I don't use it. It kind of makes the truck a little jerky off the line. But when you're towing a trailer and you've got a pretty heavy load back there, the extra throttle response is nice, especially when you're up on the highway and you want to pass somebody. takes all the guesswork out of it. Now this thing has a bunch of different settings, from economy to city to Sport Plus. I find City 3 is my favorite setting. It's plenty snappy, but it's not overly aggressive. But anyway, this thing was a couple $100. I bought it used off someone who had it on a Tacoma, and a late model Tacoma pedal just has the same plug as the Sequoia. So I've been running it for about 8 months. I haven't decided whether I'm going to keep it or not, but it has certainly made my life a little bit easier when it comes to towing. Now, with that out of the way, the other mod that any tow rig needs is a trailer brake controller. Now, this one is cheap and sort of low spec. It came on the truck, which is why it's still here. You know, the cheapest mod is one you don't do yourself. And this one doesn't have a ton of bells and whistles, but I can say it works very well, and it really just kind of is extra peace of mind when there's a heavier load behind you. Now, I probably would have changed this if I towed a trailer that had brakes on it more often, but most of the time I'm just towing a yard trailer, and it really doesn't require the use of this thing. So that's why it is the way it is. You know, there are nicer ones. You should probably have a nicer one if you're going to tow a big trailer more often. But for so far, this has worked for me, and it's probably staying right where it's at just because it's there. All right, y'all, here we are out on Interstate 64 in Fluvanna County, Virginia. Bopping along right about 70 miles an hour, and as you can see, everything's quiet in here. The rig behind, or the load behind me on the rig is nice and quiet and calm. And we can do this pretty much as far as we want to go. The Sequoia's happy, I'm comfortable. I got a heated seat going, I got the air conditioner on. What more could you want? Aside from Apple CarPlay and 40 more horsepower and maybe more gears in the transmission and warranty. Let's see, what else? Oh, cooled seats would be nice. That'd be a thing. But we don't have any of that. And the truck was $9 grand. And the truck is paid for. And it will tow my UTV anywhere I wanted to, any day of the week. And when I get where I'm going, I can park at the trailhead and sleep in it. Can't say fairer than that. I'll take that every time over a car payment and interest. Alright, that's been my 2006 Toyota Sequoia, the mods I've done to it, and how it fits into my daily life. I would take this as proof that if a truck is getting in the way of you getting a UTV and getting out there and doing your thing, there are ways around it. Don't let anyone tell you need a bank loan or a $75,000 truck to go have fun and hit the trails. I'm living proof of that. I do this for a living, and this is the vehicle I do it in. Thanks, guys. And remember, you can catch us on our social media channels, on Facebook, on Instagram, here on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and you can find us every day of the week at utvdriver.com.